When Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake addressed grieving residents after the deadly shooting in Commodore, he made one thing clear.
We will leave no stone unturned as a JCF to ensure that these persons are brought to justice.
Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz, News and Entertainment with Buzz. The video that you saw at the start of this is of your Commissioner of Police, Dr. Blake, giving his word, sending out a warning, sending out a message, vowing to the suspects in the Commodore mass shooting in which about 5 persons or so lost their life that listen. There will be no stones that are going to be left unturned. If you go to the top of the highest mountain or below the deepest sea, we are coming to get you and people. It seems as if the commissioner, he kept his word. Because based on information that we're getting is that there were 2 operations launched simultaneously, meaning both of them one time back to back or so. One of them in a place that is known as Jewel's Estate that is in Nollis, and the next one in a place named Grange Lane. In the first operation in Nollis, it is said that they went to a premises to execute a warrant of DEATH. It was executed properly. When they came upon the premises, some individual with an M16 rifle decided that he was going to take on the police. He made a very fatal error. After a shootout and the smoke cleared, that man was seen clutching onto the tool and also trying to clutch to his life. He lost both. The next operation in a Grange Lane, it is said that police intercepted a vehicle with some suspect. The suspects alighted from the vehicle. Police took evasive action, and the rest is history. One of those individuals lost his life. The rest of them take for themselves. Based on the police report, it is said that these both incidents have something to do with the incident that took place in a Commodore, where those persons were conned up and lost their life. I am going to let you hear from the SSP of the area what he has to say, and then I am going to give my piece.
The investigations into what took place in Commodore is ongoing, and there are still information that I cannot divulge. But just to say that these 2 incidents are connected to that investigation, and we will have several other operations, with intent to try and arrest some of these persons who were involved in that gruesome and awful incident in Commodore. I would just want to appeal to the community, especially in the Linstead area. You might see increased police actions inside there, that we want to enlist your continued support in that community. And it might affect several other communities within the St. Catherine space. But just rest assured that the JCF will continue its investigation, and we appeal for the continued support of the public during this time as we seek justice for the victims.
Now, people, we should not be surprised whenever there's any case in which mass shooting, children get involved, children lose their life or even get injured. Whenever there's a bounty put on the heads of these criminals, it seems as if the police is always going to cash out. It seems as if when they hold these individuals, it is always going to be ASS out, man down, man gone. No police injuries in any of these 2 operations. So pretty much it was not a fair fight. It was a one-sided affair, even though the police say it's a shootout. When it comes to this criminal element, whether it is conflicting or not, we do not care. All we want is a W. Once they are known, sure, without a shadow of a doubt, criminal elements had anything to do with this incident, directly or indirectly, the police did the proper thing, put them in their proper perspective, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, isn't it ironic that on the same day in which relevant authority, Governor General, were saying that this is National Anti-Bully Day, a parent did an interview with TVJ News and she is spilling the beans, Given all the details of what her child went through and how her child, second grader, is very depressed right now based on some experiences that he's had at school. Now, this is said to have taken place in our primary school in Clarendon. Based on what the mother says is that some students at the school is bullying this youth. As a matter of fact, on the 23rd and the 26th of September 2025, them beat him up, them clot him up a couple of times. What makes it very bad is the fact that after a child got clot up, she then contacted the school. School did not contact her. The little picnic come home with all sorts of wheel, all sorts of lump, all sorts of bump on her body, on his body, sorry. The parent went to the teacher. Teacher directed her to the principal, went to the principal, told her the name of the person suspected little picnic where beat up the child, more persistent than the others. The principal then said to the parents, well, I don't think that child would actually bully your child, as if she's in the mind of that child, as if she can swear for that child that is not even her child. Maybe it is her friend's child. So after contacting the principal for the school, the mother then tried to make contact with the mother of the picnic, that is the abuser, meaning the bully. The mother said, yes, I have seen one instance in which my child clot of your child, so therefore you are not telling any sorts of lies. So people, I am going to let you hear from that parent whose child was being clot up, and then I am going to give my piece.
But recently started saying that sometimes he's afraid to go to school because the students keep beating him. If this continues, is to just get him into another school. He was being bullied by a boy when he was in grade 2. When my mother went to the school, the principal said that she has all reasons to believe that that child is not troubling my son. It happened again, and this time the little boy's mother went and saw him in action. The one September 26 left him with swollen face, bruises over the eye, on the cheek down to the neck. It was about 5 students who beat him on Friday. I sent the pictures to the principal and his class teacher, and they didn't call me over the weekend. When I went there the Monday morning to speak with the principal, she gave me a lot of attitude. One of the day when they beat him up, he just came home crying. I couldn't find out what is happening to him. There are times he just come home, won't talk, won't tell me what exactly is happening. A student came in, took it up, ran with it, drop it on the ground, damage the cover. I reached out to the teacher. He identified the student. The student did not deny it. Each time I reach out to see if they are going to reimburse me for the bottle, they keep telling me they will get back to me, and still no response. I went back to Maypen Police Station last week, Monday, and they told me that they would visit the school and give me a call. Still haven't heard anything.
Now, people, one thing is bad if a child goes through some dramatic episode. However, when you think that the person that are tasked to keep your child safe, especially the head of the school being the principal, then it is only a spit in the face, step on your head while you are down. Because it makes absolutely no sorts of sense for a principal to be taken up for a child that is a known bully. It is even worse that this child was beat up on the 23rd and also on the 26th. Come on with all sorts of wheels, all sorts of mark, all sorts of lump on his face. And the principal was not aware of it. And when the mother contacted the principal, contacted the Ministry of Education, the principal or school was still in denial. People, I am not even going to lie. When it comes to my kids or children, I have bigger children now, I am going to defend them like the rooster or mother hen in that case, if you are a parent that is a female. So my point is this: as a parent, you should protect your child at all costs in any environment, whether it is home, whether it is on the street, or even worse, where you send them to school and thinking that a school is a safe space, especially with what is happening, because based on what this mother is saying, this little picnic is afraid to go back to school. This little picnic is now secluded, meaning staying by itself, being very quiet, going through depression. And you've seen in many cases of lately, we see that these children that are quiet usually end up in the furthest extent, meaning that them take for themselves. So people, I just say, parents out there, you should know the type of children that you have if them are some bully. And you should not send those bully children to people's school so that other persons' decent picnic are subjected to their kind of activity. So the moral of the story is this. Each parent should know their child, what their child temperament is, if their child is calm and decent, or their child is a vagabond, a bully. You should not let that bully child go to school and antagonize other people's decent picnic. And if they do, and the parents take it to the furthest extent, and people, I don't know if you should be taking my advice in this case, but me just say, do not start no ish, won't be no ish. Discipline your child at the home, so therefore they don't come out and be a nuisance to people. So therefore persons can get ticked off and take it to the furthest extent. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, it is called You Never See Smoke Without There Is Fire. So if you notice, the criminal elements in a Spanish town, meaning the extortionists, meaning the dons, meaning the criminals, meaning the robbers, they've been under fire over the last year or so, 2024, coming into 2025. We saw that they were taken out rapidly, whether it is controversial or not. So we see that the police, the relevant authority, the government, the system was on a mission to eradicate all of those nuisances, menaces to society. Well, people, like I said, you never see smoke without fire. It seems as if the government had a $2 billion, $2.3 billion plan, construction plan, infrastructure plan for Spanish Town, St. Catherine adjoining here. This includes the building of a new high-tech police station. So we saw that your PM, Andrew Holness, came out and he's giving a warning. He is sending a message to those persons that think that they can hijack government construction stuff like they did in the past. This is now the dawning of a new day. I want you to take a listen, take a look to exactly what your PM said when he spoke about this construction and the warning that he gave out to these criminal elements, and then I'll give my piece.
One thing is clear. You cannot have development without security. We cannot have development with gangs operating. The people are going to have to decide because, the gangs have created a culture, which in many instances, it has become a counterculture, enlisting people in its support. And it is going to take some time. I hate to think it is going to be a generational change, but it's going to take some time for people to understand that there can be development and security without gangs. We are going to remove you from this space and eliminate your operation. We are going to take over the space. It is really distressing that criminal enterprises have been allowed to take root in a historical area like Spanish Town and in a generally very peaceful area of the northern part of St. Catherine, which is not necessarily urbanized. And they have really created mayhem. If they don't perform, the budget cannot be expended. And if the budget is not expended, then it means the growth of the country is slow. If projects take longer than they should take, if they are over budget, if they are not done at quality, then the public loses. We have had to raise the site profile in some instances as high as 6 feet and as little as 2 feet, because we have learned from other experiences where we have built on sites that were prone to flooding, and then we would have had to take remedial action. In this case, we took the remedial action at the outset in lifting the site level to be about 2 feet or more above the road level.
Now, people, Isn't it kind of strange when you hear a government that is in charge of security, the police force, have to actually send out a warning to these knucklehead, these hard-headed persons that they themselves might have broken out in the past due to corruption, due to trying to win an election. I am speaking about both PNP and JLP. So therefore, because these criminal elements are used to one specific way in which they think that they are governing the place, governing the ground, and whenever there's any sort of construction, people from the top gangs have to be hired, or else they are going to sabotage the project. Well, people, it is sad that the PM have to come out and send out a warning to make them know, say, listen, this is not business as usual. This is the dawning of a new day. So we hear the Prime Minister talk about the construction project and the overrun, meaning the budget. Now, people, you and I know that every construction that we see in Jamaica, there is some sorts of hustling, there is some sorts of extortion. Whether it is by the unofficial criminals or the official criminals, meaning the people them in the jacket and tie. So therefore, the extortionists are looking on and they are saying to themselves, well, if the government do it and them know better and we are criminals, it is in our natural instincts to extort. Then we no must can do it too. However, people like them say, thief never like to see thief with long bag. Such is the case in this case. Point blank and period.
All I have to say to member of the public, the general population of the country, while there's a fire, try your utmost best to escape, to leave the premises and don't return, because this is an example of what done this morning. We were told that the gentleman leave the premises and return to retrieve something, and he would have suffocated in the fire, and this would have been how we met his demise. So at 4:12 this morning, we received a call of building on fire. Immediately, we dispatched two units, one from York Park and one from Arthur Tree. En route to the fire, the officer would have saw the severity of the fire and called for additional units. Therefore, we sent out Rollington Town, Trench Town, and also another unit from York Park to battle the blaze. Upon arrival, the fire was confined to the 6th floor of the gallery apartment complex, where one jet was used to extinguish the flame. Carrying out inspection of the premises and search and rescue, we would have discovered a 70-year-old male char remain in the rubble.
So the next thing that is popping in the news based on the fire that you just heard of. Unfortunately, an elderly man did not make it. Moral of the story is this: you should not be penny wise and pound foolish. Remix: you should not be possession wise and losing your life foolish. Based on what the firefighter is saying, not directly, is that this man was out of the building and decided that he left something inside that was very important to him. He then went back inside the burning flames. Don't know if the fire was as bad when he left. However, you know, when it comes to fire, it can flare up, especially when it gets windy. It depends on oxygen or whatever the case is. So while he was going back in to retrieve whatever he was retrieving, he lost his life, unfortunately. So people, hopefully persons will learn from this. It is kind of basic common sense. However, sometimes people feel as if the fire not that bad. However, when they go back, things change drastically for the worse. Such is the case in this case. Point blank and period.